Suddenly I'm run over by a bus, or how to get things in order before the bus hits. Note, this is not an estate or financial planning seminar. Also, although I'm a lawyer, I'm not acting as a lawyer in making this presentation. You should consult a lawyer and/or accountant for specifics on estate planning, and references to outside materials or sources are not an endorsement of any of the same, but rather intended to be a starting point for your own research. You should also note that this talk will be posted on the library's YouTube site, and the text of the talk will also be made available to enable you to review, and will include some links to websites to make it more convenient for you. At the end, I will try and answer your questions. If you have further questions after the talk is concluded, you can pass them to Ms. Krause at the library, and we will see if we can answer some. When I put these materials together, suddenly I'm run over by a bus I treated as a working title. It was blatantly stolen from a humorous piece about fiction writing and how to end your story when no real ending suggests itself. To me, perhaps a better title is simply the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. I attended a lecture from a US lawyer named Vincent Bugliosi, who stressed there was no substitute for preparation. I understand there's a lot of negative emotion tied up in taking these steps, and it is that negative emotion which creates the inertia to undertake these activities. Nonetheless, life could be easier all around if some simple tasks are undertaken. Don't put these things off, and don't put off updating materials you may have had from a long time ago. You do not need to await your endless analysis or fear of offending someone or making a poor decision. Make the best decision you can in the circumstances. Talk to whomever you wish to designate as your key contact. There should be no surprises. Storage. Where should you keep all the things we're going to talk about? Rather than hiding things under a mattress, may I suggest as a first step a file folder entitled Suddenly I'm Run Over by a Bus, or words to that effect, which contains copies of these items, and that the location of the file folder be disclosed to someone you trust. It's not necessarily the best idea to designate your partner if you travel with this person frequently, as the bus could hit you both. So for example, partner knows where the folder is, but so does one of your children. Some items may require different methods of storage, and I will address those separately. But consolidating materials makes it easier for all concerned. I'm also going to list at the end some materials that I think should go in there under the category of what is where. What is where is a type of document/list. Think of it as a guide or pathway for people. But first, I'm going to address some of the essential items needed to go in that file. Legal documents, the essentials, powers of attorney, and wills. That is going to be addressed in next week's talk, but obviously these are things which are very important. Digital inheritance protection. I'm talking your online accounts, your family photos, banking information, social media passwords, and stock portfolio information. Now add your cryptocurrency, your Bitcoin, and other purchases, perhaps your NFTs, your non-fungible digital tokens, alongside access to your private keys and digital wallet. Do your loved ones or other heirs have the right to possess and own these accounts? Service provider policies all handle accounts of deceased users very differently. However, some have started to help users plan how to handle their digital footprint after their passing. For example, Facebook introduced the legacy contact. Someone the account holder chooses to look after or manage your account once you pass on. Once the account is memorialized, the legacy contact has the ability to write a pinned post to the profile or even delete the account entirely. Google says it can work with immediate family members and representatives to close the account of a deceased person where appropriate. In certain circumstances, they may provide content from a deceased user's account. In all of these cases, they consider their primary responsibility is to keep people's information secure, safe, and private. I will include a link to the Google and Facebook references in the text which we will post. It's important to note that some services will merely attend to closing an account rather than transferring access to the account of another person. You need to check the terms of service, that long, boring document that almost everyone clicks "I agree" without actually reading, to determine precisely what the policy is. In almost all cases, the service provider states that they cannot provide passwords or other login details. So where do you get those passwords and login details? Storage for login details and passwords. The simplest way, and depending upon mode of storage, one of the easiest ways to store your passwords and login details is on a piece of paper in your "Suddenly I'm Run Over by a Bus" file folder. Of course, this requires that you make sure it is kept current, failing which it becomes of limited utility. There are also a number of books specifically created to store this information, and I will provide a link to some options in this regard in the text we post. The drawback to the foregoing is security. If lost or stolen, the information is both unavailable to you and potentially in a third party's hands for their use. The information can also be stored with an online password manager. There are a number of options available. I've just pulled up one review of a number of such sites, which will be in the text posted. The one that I use enables all my passwords to be stored in one spot, and access can be attained by anyone who knows the one password to enter. By remembering your usernames and passwords for you, many password managers will identify weak, duplicate, or compromised passwords and help you improve them. In other words, you're free to give all your online sites and services strong, unique passwords without needing to memorize them all. It automatically stores passwords and allows an authorized individual to see in one spot a comprehensive list of all your sites you have logged into. It does not store web browser history. And subject to complying with the terms of service of the service provider, it will allow access and control of the sites by your trusted third party. All you need to remember is a single password to unlock the password manager. There are password manager services which have a fee, but there are also free online password manager services, examples of which will be posted in the text. There are also, if you're uncomfortable with storing that information in an online form, there are also hardware devices which can be enabled. Hardware password managers are tiny portable devices that work as an offline password vault. They were primarily created with businesses in mind, but nothing prevents personal users from getting one. These devices protect sensitive information behind a master PIN that users set when they use the product for the first time. The devices will lock themselves after several failed attempts to enter the correct PIN. They can be a good option for people who are concerned their passwords may be in a place that could be hacked, such as a computer, the cloud, or a password manager company's server. I've listed a review of several such devices, and that will also be posted in the text for this talk. Now, the what is where portion of this talk, the guide or pathway for people, which I referred to at the outset, which I would submit is very useful in simply organizing your life. Some ideas for this guide, which should be comprehensive. Is there already another storage system in use, e.g. Dropbox? If so, what is it and what is the information to access it? Is there a safe in the home? If so, combination. I have a friend who inherited the family safe, ancient and very heavy. He's had to pay a locksmith twice to crack it. Keep track of that combination. Banks, branch location, accounts, safety deposit box number, and where to locate the key/online passwords, client card numbers, and where to find the card/client card password, challenge questions and answers for online banking. Also, by the way, the Bank of Canada has a useful tool on their website that allows you to check for unclaimed balances. The "I forgot I had an account there." The link will be posted again in the text for this talk. If a security box is at home, where and where to find the key. Other matters for what is where. Name of lawyer, accountant, investment firm, etc. Agents that act for you and would be a source of valuable information for an executor or someone who has your power of attorney. Services info, accounts, etc. for Rogers, Bell, Hydro. Passport number, expiry, etc. And where is it? Nexus, number, expiry, where is it? Key identification documents, birth, marriage certificate, divorce, SIN, OHIP, driver's license number, that information. The SIN will be needed by an executor right away. Other key documents, mortgage, condo info or rental agreements, deed, etc. Pension information, number identifiers, where are the documents, etc. And CPP OAS info as applicable. Subscriptions, Netflix, magazines, passwords, account number. Professional registration information, e.g. Law Society or College of Physicians, other. Medical information, doctors, numbers, where critical health information is located, medications. Points programs, redemption information, whether you can access points of a deceased sometimes depends on the terms of the will, which now routinely have electronic asset clauses in them. So that is my brief summary of being prepared. And now, after Ms. Krause relocates in a brief pause, we will take your questions.